This week, Makita launches a bunch of new goodies you didn't know you needed.
Tools and Stuff shares the ultimate track saw, and Rob and his merry tradesmen discover the best multi-tool of 2021.
This is your Power Tool Week in Review.
This episode brought to you by Flex, It's What's Next, and Spider, Pro-Powered Tools.
Welcome back, Power Tool fans. I'm Rob.
And I'm Sarah. We have several great new videos for you to enjoy, starting with Brian over at WorkshopAddict, who still isn't done torturing the new DeWALT Powerstack battery, this time leaving it in his freezer for 24 hours to see what freezing temperatures due to this new lithium-ion pouch technology. Brian fortunately had enough room for a few other batteries, so he was able to see if the cold did the same amount of damage to performance numbers. And after his first couple of tests, things did not look good. Now keep in mind, lithium-ion batteries rarely look good after being subjected to extreme temperatures. As it turns out, when they're both at 10 degrees, they're worthless. But as they warm up, the improvement was quick, but it wasn't equal. So if you work in the cold and you're considering adopting this new battery tech, you should head over to WorkshopAddict.
While we were at STAFDA a couple weeks ago, we ran into Vince, who was salivating in the Makita booth. In a recent video, the very cool guy himself teamed up with the coolest guy at Makita to talk about a few of their newest tools. That is Carlos, our favorite man in teal, sharing the new Makita LXT cooler and warmer box. And you heard that right. It will keep your stuff cold down to 0 degrees or warm as high as 140 degrees. But you're not limited to batteries. You can also plug it into the wall or your 12-volt socket in your vehicle. Yes, freaking please. Most importantly, it has a bottle opener for your, let's say Coke. Vince also got a look at their new Starlock Max multi-tool and the mind-numbing 80-volt Max XGT 14-inch power cutter. Makita really showed up to STAFDA ready to impress, and their pitch appeared to work on Vince just like it did the rest of us. For the full booth tour, head over to VCG.
After last week, Rob promised me that if I had a segment on the TorqueTestChannel, I wouldn't have to read it. Because it's hard to say the Torque Trio, Torque Test and Channel of the TorqueTestChannel, where they test torque on their torque testing channel. It's hard to say. But now that I've said it, I might as well own it. This week they set out to ask a pretty significant question: just how much torque do you lose when your battery is low? In the 12th episode of For Science, they asked that very question. To test this, they used some heat guns to run down the batteries to specific levels and then ran them over and over on the dyno. And yeah, you see some significant loss. We're talking around 25%. But more surprisingly, were the losses recorded when the batteries were only at 1 or 2 bars down. If your battery isn't totally full when you go to the job, you're not working at max power. If you want to know exactly how much you're missing, TTC can tell you.
The team of talented tradesmen over at Toolbox Buzz take tool reviews very seriously. No matter the tool type, they go way out of their way to test the features and performance of each tool to ensure that when they're done, you can confidently assume their findings are relevant and accurate. So you'll understand why so many of us anxiously await the publication of each one. This week, they took on Multitools. The lineup was absolutely huge this time, including contenders from Bosch, DeWALT, Festool, Makita, Metabo, Milwaukee, Ridgid, Ryobi, and of course, the inventor of the multi-tool itself, Fine. But the real surprise of the group was the first-time player from Flex, who not only soared up the charts, but came awfully close to topping it on its first day on the job. Every example was tested thoroughly for accuracy, performance, features, ergonomics, vibration, noise, and of course, price. Now, I'm not going to spoil the results, as this head-to-head is completely worthy of your 22 minutes. So grab yourself a drink, get comfy, and hit up Toolbox Buzz.
A few weeks ago, we pointed you to a new tool reviewer named Matt from M4 Drums and Builds, who published a fantastic unboxing and overview of a new Ridgid R4251, which looks suspiciously like a Delta Cruiser. For good reason, I might add. That video led to a ton of questions in the comments, so many that Matt decided to share a follow-up video covering the most common questions about this Delta and Ridgid clothing. Of course, he's now had plenty of time to actually use the saw, so he decided to update his review as well. The biggest negative being that the dust collection is less than ideal. However, the pros far outweigh the cons on this one, and overall, he's very happy with how it's performed. For the full details and the answers to all of your questions, head over to M4 Drums and Builds.
Tools and Stuff has been sharing a steady stream of Makita circular saws this summer, many of which we can't even get here in the States. But this week, he's finally stepping over the teal line and found a fantastically unique track saw from Mafell. This is the Mafell KSS 3018M BL cordless cross-cutting saw, and at first glance, this little guy has it all. While it's loaded with features like a rollable track, cross-cut plate, easy depth adjustment, riving knife, and more, there's still something that the disembodied hands from Tools and Stuff can find to complain about. The saw doesn't adjust quite deep enough for his framing work, and he doesn't like the button placement for releasing the battery. But overall, he seems pretty smitten with the Mafell, so much so that he's hesitant to give it back to his buddy Robert, who kindly loaned it to him in the first place. The lesson here? Never loan anything to Tools and Stuff.
Good advice.
To watch the full thing, head over to Tools and Stuff.
Dave over at ManCaverTools started a new series called MCT 2-Minute Reviews, which is perfect for people with short attention spans, like Rob.
What now?
I was just saying that not everyone can sit through a long video about...
Squirrel's back.
Yeah. Anyways, in 2 minutes or less, or sometimes a little more, Dave gives you the highlights of each tool, explains its significance, and even gives you a few test runs. Perfect if you only have a couple of minutes, but still want to get your fill of power tool reviews. And with 11 videos in this series and more on the way, you'll have plenty to get started. You'll find each one over at ManCaverTools.
Hey, are you guys part of the production crew? I only ask because this week's member-only flash sale from Ohio Power Tool is here. We'll be posting a code good for 15% off anything up to $500 on their store. But the code can only be used by 20 people, and it's only good for 48 hours starting, let's say, now. If you're a production crew member, you'll find the code in our community tab. Just a reminder that we meet with our production crew for a special 1 hour, okay, 1 hour-ish, sometimes 2, live stream where we let you follow along as we put together our show each week and make suggestions for content we should include. If that sounds like something you'd like to do and enjoy a random limited special coupon code from Ohio Power Tool, you can click the join button below this video. We look forward to hanging out with you for an hour.
Or 3 if Rob gets excited and starts sharing all of our secrets again.
I do that sometimes. Special thanks to Flex and Spider for sponsoring us this week. Guys, we couldn't do it without you.
If you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, and if you loved it, we hope that you subscribe.
All right, guys, do something kind for someone else this weekend, and we'll see you next week.